What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Tuck. That's Will. We'll get to who this is in just 1 second. This is Super Retro, a nostalgic podcast about retro gaming, TVs and film, and anything pop culture from the 80s and 90s, okay? So let's hop right into this thing. Today on the show, and we'll tell you where we're at in a second. I just want to introduce our guests first, because obviously you can tell we're not in our studio at the moment. Our guest, we've kind of known for a long time, you know what I mean? Not
ran in the same circle.
Exactly. He's an entrepreneur. He owns restaurants, which he just said he doesn't like to tout that, which that means he's a humble dude. Tony Thomas, you guys, give it up for Tony. Will, give me a clap. Give me a clap.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on the show. And first of all, man, thank you for. This is amazing, by the way.
It's one of the best weekends we've had in a long time.
We are at Louisville Arcade Expo 2023 in Louisville, Kentucky. This is the RecBar booth, which Tony is the owner or co-owner of RecBar. Their brainchild. They brought it to fruition, which we're going to actually talk about that because I have a lot of questions about that.
Heck yeah.
But again, man, seriously, thank you for giving us this dope setup.
Sure.
I mean, this is so cool. He's got a bar set up. He just allowed us to come do our podcast from here with all these wonderful people at this Arcade Expo. I really feel like I can't believe this is here, and in my opinion, this thing is outgrown. This, what do you think about that?
Oh yeah, it has 100%. I guess the biggest thing is this venue is perfect for it because the next step up is just so much more expensive. I mean, you're talking Freedom Hall, then you got to pay union to run electric and shit, and it's just and it changes every year because they try to learn, you know, what's working, what's not working. I think they're kind of more trying to lean towards the con now because that goes, you know, towards everyone.
I got you.
You know, and you can bring in, you know, the Louisville Con, Kentucky cosplay type people. And some of the other bigger expos and some of the other cities we go to, they've done that. But the guys that run this, Corey and Joe, they do really well, and they put in a ton of work. It's insane. The week of, I mean, those dudes are here 20 hours a day. It's crazy.
You can tell, man. This place is pretty unreal.
This is actually, I mean, embarrassingly enough, this is our first one, Will. I tried to come last year, but I was out of town. But this is our first one, and I wasn't prepared.
I don't think I expected it to be like this.
There are hundreds of
games
here.
Pinball, arcade.
Every console you can ever imagine is here. I mean, like,
everything.
Literally every gaming console as far as computer or Nintendo or Sega or like even what's those like glasses,
Virtual Boys.
Virtual Boys. I mean, just everything and all of that. Most of that stuff, most of the console type games is owned by Corey and Joe.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, they own all that. And then, you know, the pinball and arcade that are on the floor, that's all brought by local collectors. The new stuff is, you know, distributors that are, you know, trying to sell, and some of the big pinball companies. So
I noticed that. There's a clear difference.
I mean, this is like the history of video games, arcades, and pinballs all in one.
There's a lot to take in. I mean, that's why some people only come one day. You got to come all three. You know, I mean, my kids, I knew it was there last year. I think last year was the first year. They got that virtual Mario Kart with the cameras and stuff on it. Y'all seen that room?
Yeah.
Dude, that stuff's sick. So we got a big space in New Albany that I think we're going to turn that whole space into that Mario Kart.
That's awesome, man.
It's just, that whole room is just packed all day, every day. So
I went in there, there's a bunch of kids in there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Speaking of kids, I brought my kids here yesterday, and they're actually back here today with my wife. But we brought our kids here yesterday. I mean, they were begging me to come back first thing this morning. I mean, this thing is an amazing event for adults and kids alike. I mean, you can bring your kids here and just have the best time ever. It's like real quality time too. So shout out to the creators of this thing, man.
The vendors, they got some cool vendors, you know.
Yeah, they do.
Just different stuff, weird stuff, you know. What's that creation's called where you take the iron and put it on the parchment paper and you make all the
like I know what you're talking
like
about.
Tables over there full of that. Then you know, like
the 3D printing.
Yeah, 3D printing.
That's
I think
amazing.
Both of our kids bought a ton of that.
Yeah,
that's a hit.
I'm watching my son. He's got another 3D printing piece in his hand. He just went and bought.
That thing's a hit for sure.
You gave him money.
Yeah, that, and then you got, you know, old school comic books and games and, you know, the anime stuff, and it's just, I mean, if you like video games and you've never
under any
been
capacity,
here, under any capacity, even if you're old school, like Doom guy on computer, like they have it, you know. So
they've done a fantastic job. So I briefly heard some of these answers from you, but I'd like to talk about, at what point did you start buying or collecting, and why, arcade and pinball machines?
I think it was, I was at 4th Street Live. I was there for 13 years, I think. And then towards the end, actually it was in 2000, not towards the end, I think it was 2009, we opened up the Sports and Social Club. We, as in my business partner at RecBar and I, were managers there. And it was like a sports bar, you know, so we thought that there should be a golden tee there. So we reached out to the vice president and said, hey man, how about we buy a golden tee and we'll split the profits on it. And it's actually the golden tee that's in my basement. That was the first game we've ever bought. So I lied. That was actually 2000. We opened that place in 2009. 2012 is when we put it in, because that's a golden tee 2012.
Oh, cool.
And the owner or the vice president said, you know, yeah, we'll do a 50-50 split. And then I hit him up and I said, all right, man, this is what it's making. And it wasn't making crazy money, but it was making decent money. And he said, how about this? How about you just keep all the money, and, you know, it's not a big deal. You just maintain it. And it paid itself off pretty quick. And then we bought a Mega Touch, like, you know, one of the bar top games, and that thing, it did all right. You know, none of it's gonna make you rich. But then we bought like 4 of those redneck punching bags, and we had one. Dude, we had one at Tango, we had one at PPR, we had one at Sports and Social, we had one at Tavern, and even with the splits at a place like that's bachelor party, you know, we used to always call it the big dick machine. You know, whoever hits it the hardest. Yeah,
that's right.
And we used to have this guy that worked for us, and he was a beast. John Troyer, man, he fought for Bellator, and he trained with us. He fought with us on the team, and you would have 2 bachelor parties over there, 10 guys each party, just I mean, feeding money in these things.
I've done it.
He would go up there and he would rip off like almost max score in front of everyone, and then they would be like, oh hell no, I'm gonna keep doing it. And
I'm gonna beat him.
And those things, they honestly, it changed. And Corey and I, from day one, said that we would always, any of the game, like revenue, anything that we made on the games has to go back in the games. So, you know, we start buying here and there, and I think actually it popped up on my time hop. The first arcade games, we came, I think it was 2015, maybe 14. We came here and bumped into a guy named Brent Griffin. He's huge in the pinball arcade community, and he had 5 games for sale. And we bought 5 games, and it was like, you know, kind of cheaper games. I think one was John Elway Football, one was Space Invaders, one was the original Mortal Kombat.
It's a classic.
I think we got one like a knockoff Contra, you know, because back in the day, you know, someone saw that Contra did well, they'd make a game that kind of looked like Contra.
Right.
And we bought those 5, and then we placed those somewhere, and then we just kept buying. And at one point, I think it was 2015, sometime in 15, we had like 3 30x10 storage units completely full of arcade games.
Oh wow.
And we weren't doing anything with them. They were just full.
Yeah, I'm glad you're getting to this. I was going to ask.
This is getting out of hand.
I see where this is going.
And then we were like, what the hell are we doing with this? So we kind of thought, you know, hey, let's open our own bar, because Corey and I both worked for people that made a lot of money before, but we were doing everything other than reaping the money.
Yeah.
So
You basically were running bars for years.
Well, my father passed away, and when he did, I missed a call, and it didn't go well with the president of the company, and he kind of talked some shit. So that day I hung up the phone and I looked at my wife. We were on speakerphone and she was like, oh my God, like she knew like I was done. And I looked at her and I said, I'm fucking done. I'm quitting. I'm fucking. And the vice president called me immediately after and he's like, I'm so sorry, man. And I was like, and he knew I was done because my father didn't even talk to me like that. So that same week, and we've looked at some places and we drew up some business plans and stuff. And that same week, I went a different route to get home. I lived in J-Town, and normally I would get off at 64 and go all the way down Hurstbourne Parkway. I lived in Watterson Woods. I'd take a left on Watterson Trail.
Yeah.
And that day I was like, randomly took a left on Taylorsville Road and was riding down and I saw the building that RecBar's in now, and it had a lease sign on it. Well, we went there prior when it was like Thirsty Ernie's, and we knew we could make it something. And I called that guy, our landlord Lonnie. Now, I called him 8 times that night, and he picked up on the 8th time, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, I want to lease the building. And he was like, you want to look at it? And I was like, nope, I want to lease it.
I already did.
Because you knew what it looked like inside, right?
Yeah, and we just knew, it was time for us to do something.
Yeah.
So we met him, I think the next day. We went up there and we signed a 3-year lease with a 3 option and a second 3-year option. We had no money. I mean, we had decent money in the bank from, us just some of the game revenue and stuff, but like nothing even close to opening anything at all.
Right.
And it was Bacon Bar that just closed. The last one before us was Bacon Bar. So we signed the lease. I went home and told my wife we signed the lease, and she's like, "We gonna be okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're good." And I went down the basement bar and did like 4 shots of tequila in a row because I was like,
"Oh shit,
holy shit!"
I just started.
I ain't got no money.
Yeah.
So that night, at that time, man, my parents always preached to me to build your credit. So when you're younger, big old tires, buy new tires on same as cash and all this stuff. And my credit was phenomenal, and so was Corey's. We got online that night, and I said, all right, well, literally start taking out credit cards until we get declined. And I think I took out like $112,000 in credit cards that night. He took out about 100, and then we start trying to piece stuff together. Right, well, I had a Best Buy card, so it was like, all right, any sound and TVs goes on Best Buy. Then I had a Lowe's and a Home Depot, and it was like, all right, construction stuff goes here. And it was a nightmare because we had to just try to figure out, and we were trying to buy shit, 4 different cards, like, all right, well, try this one, and it sucked for the first 2 years, but I think after that, it kind of jumped off, and we knew it was going to do well because that place was 7 different or 8 different places before us, but it was 7 or 8 different places that never had operations like us. Like when we were at 4th Street, we did everything other than get the money. I mean, we were in charge of all of our payroll and all of our labor and the profits and ordering and everything. So we knew it.
Yeah, you knew the business.
Yeah.
And we knew, what they weren't doing and stuff. So, and we also knew you can't throw lipstick on a pig. Like, you have to go in and change the place.
Yeah.
If you paint the place and everyone's like, oh, well, they paint it.
Yeah.
So we kind of gathered all of our funds up and stuff. My mother actually loaned us a little money, which was awesome. And Corey's dad loaned a little, and that's like, banks wouldn't touch us. I mean, we went to banks, and every bank was like, nope, not doing it. Getting a bar and restaurant loan without having prior ownership of a bar and restaurant, it's impossible. It's not happening.
Damn.
So, we started off, doing whatever we could. We did all the build out ourselves. Our landlord, he wanted us to sign like a small lease because he had 7 or 8 places in the building before that. So he was like, I'll give you a year, and so he went out of town. He travels a lot. He went out of town I think he went to Belize for like a month or something. He got back home. We ripped off the front of the building. We put a garage door in. We ripped out all the windows, put all new windows in, ripped the drop ceiling out, sprayed the ceiling, poured an extra patio, put an awning over it. And when he got home, he was like, holy shit, like,
all right,
you guys are
legit
trying to stay.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah. So it's been great. I mean, April 15th, we opened actually on my birthday, so that was kind of cool. So April 15th of this year is our 7-year anniversary of a place that when we first announced we were opening, a lot of people in that area were like, I'll give them 30 days. I'll give them, maybe 6 months. So it was kind of cool to...
Yeah. Now it's like a staple in the city.
Yeah,
Everyone knows RecBar.
But it's crazy though, dude. I talk to a lot of people. I even have good friends, I guess friends that have never been. And, I understand everyone, might not be able to go out and do stuff whenever, but I would think after 7 years, if you're my friend, you would have at least came in. Like, you don't need to spend any money. Just you, like, going in and maybe giving me a shout out, like,
for sure,
you guys
man.
know a share is worth a ton of money.
It's worth so much, and what's to that point, I saw a meme where it was like, your friends will share all these celebrities and all this, but if you have something you need them to share or support, a lot of them don't do it.
Yeah.
What is that? Why is that?
It's crazy because working in the bar makes you kind of realize, a lot of people come in and they're like, hey man, give me a free beer. Like,
right.
That's not a fucking free beer.
Yeah.
I paid for that beer.
Yeah.
Like, and, so you coming in and saying that, I'd rather give you $1 walking in the door, and then I'd rather you go buy the beer, And at first, at 4th Street, I had a ton of that. When I opened, when we opened RecBar at first, you'd have that here and there, but I don't really have that anymore because everyone knows, like, dude, we support the community like crazy. Like, people hit me up, oh, my son's team needs a $25 gift card for baseball raffle or something, like. So I think everyone realizes, like, we help everyone out. We don't need to get you a free beer. We'll help you out another way. So
right. So the whole arcade bar concept, is did that just happen because you had all of these games and you had the background, right?
It did, but so what we did is Corey went to New York and he went to, so you can't say the word barcade on anything because it's trademarked by the company, Barcade, which is one of like kind of the first original barcades. They have one in New York. I think they have 3 total now, maybe more than that. I'm not sure. So Corey went to New York. I think he went to 4 arcade bars there. Then we went to Kansas City, St. Louis, Cincy, Nashville. Maybe that's all. I think we went to like a total of 6 different cities, and we went to Chicago, has a bunch. We went to every arcade bar and literally wrote down what was cool about the place.
Did some homework.
Or what was not cool about the place. What were they doing or what weren't they doing? Nowhere let kids in. And it was crazy to me because if we didn't let kids in, we wouldn't be successful. Like, I mean, bar none. There's no question about it. Like, if we were just 21 and over, we would have a cool, fun bar, but it would not be where it's at right now. Not even close.
100% agree with that.
And, like, one place had food as a kitchen, and then, like, maybe 2 other places had food trucks. And that's it. So we came from food. I've been in food before that for 15 years. Actually, my first job I was 20 years old, and I worked at Bear Nose in Fern Creek. And then Brent Griffin's here, huge guy. We love him. He actually is probably one of the main reasons we got started. Like I said, that's the guy we bought some games from, and he's actually one of our lead techs. So
I bought a game from him just a little while ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can tell you it's going to be amazing, and if it's not, that dude, he takes care of stuff.
It was good prices.
So, I started at Barano's forever ago, and then actually where I met y'all at, I believe so, I went to the nightclub, and I was at Have a Nice Day Cafe in Bar Louisville. So, I mean, now that I look back at it, I'm 40 years old. I started working at Tumbleweed at 19, but I wasn't able to serve or anything over by J Mall, and then it burnt down. I think that one burnt down when they closed for remodeling. I left out of there.
Yeah.
But for us to be around food for so long, and no one's doing food, it was just crazy. So
seems like a perfect storm.
Yeah, and then so we went to. I think the biggest flag was we went to Chicago, and nothing against this place. I think it was Emporium in Chicago. We went for a Metallica Avenged Sevenfold concert, so we just want to check out all the bars there too. So we go, I think they open at 11 in the morning, and we go at like 11:30, and we walk up to the door, and there's a guy, his arms crossed, and he's like, IDs. I was like, it's 11:30 in the morning. There's literally not one person in the bar.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of weird, so we went in, and they might have some different rules in different cities where you can't have kids in. But every city that I've ever talked to, basically, if you sell some type of food, I mean, there's literally cities. If you ever go to a bar and you see a microwave on the back bar, or chips, or like raviolis, they did that so they can get away with the age, the age law.
Yeah, they serve food.
Yeah, all they had to do is serve food, and so I asked the bartender, I said, when do y'all get busy? And she's like, about 7 p.m. So I'm sitting there thinking,
all that
for
time
8
open.
hours, your place is empty. You're not sharing these games with kids.
Yeah.
And if none of these kids, anywhere were allowed to play arcade machines, they would only maybe play them at someone's house that had some games at their house.
Yeah, some lucky guy.
Because operators are done. There's no, you can't put games in a skating rink anymore, which they're all like closing, or and make really good money on them. You just got to hope like it works out in a restaurant, decently, because the kids play games and the parents eat and drink, but a lot of people think that you can just like buy the games and put them in somewhere and you're making money. They don't make money like that. And, some of them are insanely expensive, and you will never pay for that game. Like we have some pinball machines, and it will never pay for itself because they're just so expensive. But us, we have to have them because everyone's like, oh, it's RecBar, they got the most pinball machines. You got the new one? So you kind of got to buy it, right? But the kid thing was just baffling. So we came back together and we said, all right, let's do food and let's do kids till 10 p.m. And when we did it, we're still on a wait 7 years later for tables on Friday and Saturday night. So
that's awesome.
Well, I know we love it. I know that I take my kids there all the time. I can't even tell you how many times I've been. I mean, I like the little Pac-Man ghost with the crown. When that shirt dropped, I had to come get that immediately.
Cool.
Corey designs all those. He made that. He made the Tupac one with the RecBar, teardrop tattoo or whatever, and he does all of our design and stuff. So he just did the new RecBar Nintendo one, and then the one I'm wearing right now. We haven't made this because of some things, but it's Recky Cheeses.
Oh, cool!
Because some girl gave us a 1-star review one day, and said it's just like Chuck E. Cheese's. So we made the Recky Cheese shirt. So
that's
and
hilarious.
Then the hoodie over here. I was walking through one day, and this kid was on his iPad, and he's screaming at his mom, and he said, Mom, I want to leave. This is the most boringest place ever. So we made RecBar the most boringest place ever hoodies. So
that's hilarious.
I mean, it's rare when you have a business like yours that that your kids want to go there and the parents are excited to go there too. You know what I mean?
Well, each of us, Corey and I, we have 2 kids, and my kids, they're old enough now to go around and play and stuff. And we're not Chuck E. Cheese's. We're not going to stamp your hand and watch your kids, but we're also not going to let your 7-year-old walk out the front door by themselves. So we take care of everything. We try to make sure the people that don't have kids are still having a good time. And that's why we do the 10 o'clock thing. And I can tell you how many times when my kids were younger and you ordered food at a restaurant and asked for a to-go box before the meal even came, and they're like, "What's wrong?" And like, these kids, we got to get out of here.
That's the story of my life. Yes.
And you just feel bad because if other people around you, you don't want your kids screaming and crying. You're just like, I got to go.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of, I don't know. It's what I feel like anyone needs to do on any business they ever start is you got to go out and you got to look at the businesses just like you, and you take what works well from them, and you drop off what you think could be an issue or what doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so, it seems like you guys really fine-tuned the idea, you know what I mean, by doing the research. And it took a while, man. We when we first opened, we had a general manager and Corey and myself, and I mean, dude, our kitchen, we projected like a modest food sales. Well, we were just blowing that out of the water. So I worked in the kitchen running, either cooking on the line or running the expo for 3 weeks and like 7 days a week. I mean, we were getting our teeth kicked in. And I went home one day and I was, if I go home and I grab a beer, like I had a bad day. I don't go home and just grab a beer. So my wife's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, I'm a cook that owns a bar. And she's like, "Well, do something about it. Hire someone." So, I texted my buddy. He was running the kitchen in Old Chicago, and I texted him and I said, "Dude, I've known you for a long time. You worked for me at 4th Street Live." And I said, "Be honest with me.
What would it take?"
I said, "What do you make right now? If you come work for me, you've worked for me before, so it's chill. I will pay you that right now in insurance." And he left, and he really, really helped us and start getting the kitchen in line. Because, at first, man, we were getting just blasted. And then we got to the position where we were like, all right, we need to hire another manager. We hired another manager, then we hired a third manager, and then we hired a events and sales manager, and
just kept growing.
And finally, my thing is, I'd rather pay whatever I need to pay and take less money, knowing that everything is operated fine.
Right.
I mean, now we have a district manager, so he runs both of the RecBars and kind of helps out with West Main Retro, and he'll, and then he works directly with the general managers. And I could be greedy and say, all right, I could have kept the general manager position and made that much more money, but to me, it's not worth it. I'd rather take less money and then make sure everything's running right. And I opened it up to spend time with my family.
Yeah, you got more time is what you're
When I was at 4th Street, man, and I don't have a lot bad to say about that place because I learned so much down there. I mean, I met awesome people. Shit, I mean, our sales manager, I hired her from there. I hired her as her first bar job ever down there. And then our district manager now, I hired him as our general manager at Sports and Social. So when I left out of there, people were hitting me up like crazy for jobs. So that's one thing that's the reason we're really successful as a team we have. It's crazy. So
that's cool, man. And I think it's really, so when I think about arcades myself, and I think it's dope that our kids are going to have these memories as well. Like, I remember going into arcades in the neighborhood. There was one on Fisher Avenue in Germantown. Will, do you know where Fisher's at?
Yeah, I remember that one.
You remember that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't remember the name.
It was I don't remember the name either, but it was two houses down from my grandmother's house, an arcade on the corner. And I can't tell you how many things were introduced to me in this arcade, from Too Short, the artist, the hip hop artist, to Pool. Just so many things that were like this just culture that was there. So I think it's cool when I bring my kids, or when people bring their kids to these arcades, that they're going to live on. You know what I'm saying? Like your RecBar and bars like it are keeping the nostalgia alive, basically. And I think that is so dope, man. So thank you for that.
Yeah, because like he said, like those games were going away.
Yeah.
And those roller skate places, that's all over.
Right.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think the first arcade I went to was we walked up to J Mall. I used to live over in Sunshine Acres, and we walked up to J Mall, and I just maybe start getting a little allowance money around then. And Aladdin's Castle.
Yes, I knew that's where you were going. I didn't want to steal your shine, though. I just had to say it.
Dude, that shit closed down like 3 weeks later.
Damn.
As soon as you got a taste.
Yes, as soon as I was like, but across the street from us was Southern Sports, the Bat and Cage golf place on Oak. Well, they probably had about 10, 15 arcade games in there. So go up there here and there and play some games. And I wasn't too big into it because I was just big on Nintendo or Super Nintendo. Because it didn't cost money.
Yeah, that's right. Sit at home.
Yeah.
So, and then they got rid of all their games, and I felt like at that time it was.
What year was that, you think? Early 90s? Mid 90s?
Yeah, we moved into that house when I was 10. So that was 30 years ago. So I guess it was 92.
92, yeah. That is about the time arcades started to die off because of home systems.
Yeah, and it took over. I'm not saying people got lazy, but it's easy. You wake up. I remember my brother was way better at video games than I was, and I remember Metroid came out, and my brother we'd play late at night and get in trouble. And my brother would wake up like an hour early for school every day
just to get some
to beat it. And finally he beat it, and it was like, damn, wake up early for school to beat a video game.
Yeah,
so.
I used to do. And you could also leave it on. You leave the video game on.
Yeah,
you go to
just
school,
walk away.
And you come back from school hoping it was still on, and you would start back where you left it.
Yeah, it was.
That was a hard game.
Yeah,
let me see here.
All of them to me were hard, dude.
But that's what happened though. Those consoles you started being able to get those games from the arcade in your house.
But it's just so much cooler, man.
It is,
just
man.
to walk up to a huge box and throw some. That's why we do tokens. Like,
I love them.
We could go on. People are like, why don't you do an hourly system, or why don't you do quarters, or why don't you do the card swipes? But dude, the card swipes, to put that on a game, it's $200 per game. We have 140 games plus at each venue.
Yeah.
It cost me a fortune.
Bro, the tokens are part of the nostalgia.
And that's why we do it. Plus, if it's, a kid's birthday or someone's birthday, we can walk up to a table and give you a cup of tokens. I can't walk up to you and give you $20 in quarters because
you can leave.
I'm a businessman. I might be like, damn, I'm about to take this $20 and turn it into something else.
Right.
So we did, and we're getting ready to bring it back. We did something called Little Flippers pre-COVID, and it was like $40 maybe, and the kids got to come up. It was a 3-hour pinball class. They got lunch, they got a t-shirt.
Oh, that's cool,
and
man.
Basically we just wanted to teach them, like, pinball is like, because if you go in the pinball room, man, you'll have kids in there and they'll just smack the buttons over and over, both of them over, and not know how to start it. So that was the first thing. We wanted to teach them how to start a game and how to play and how.
That's so cool. You should definitely bring that back.
Yeah, and that was, dude. Honestly, everything's just kind of been crazy, so we definitely plan on bringing it back. Like I said, we did it one time, and I think we had like 46 kids for that Sunday, and it was great, and then we taught some kids, hey, how to play, because, I'll give everyone a tip for RecBar. If you go in RecBar on a Friday early night or Saturday early night, and you go in the pinball room, there is tons of free credits on everything because the kids just go in,
leave,
and they put their tokens in, they leave.
That's great.
And it sucks because it's like, they go over to their mom, dad, and say that game took their tokens, and then gives a bad taste. And that's one thing we wanted to go to tokens too. Man, if anyone comes up to the bartenders or servers and say, X game took my tokens, if it took 4 of your tokens, we'll give you 8.
Right.
We don't.
Here you go,
we want
dude.
you to be happy, and I can't really do that with quarters all the time. You'd have buckets of quarters everywhere and just giving out. So so if anyone ever hears this and the games took your tokens, it's a token, man. We'll hook you up.
We'll take
for sure.
We got token.
Any rec bars anywhere else in the future?
Yeah, I mean,
I know there's one in J-Town, one in New Albany, Indiana, right?
A12.
New Albany was our second one, and I think that one was we built that one, so we.
I got to check it out, man. I haven't been to that one.
That one is.
You told me it was amazing, huge.
So J-Town's 10,000 square feet, which that's a big venue.
Yeah, it's not
that
small.
pinball room is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
We opened that up. We opened the pinball room up on our 3rd year anniversary, I think, and that really set it off as far as
it really did.
pinball.
When I saw that, I was like, oh shit, these dudes are serious.
Like the lights in there, I mean, it's amazing.
That
just
went to the
see.
next level for real.
Yeah, and we went from.
Doesn't look cheap, but it was amazing.
No, pinballs are not
That
cheap.
looks like money. All that bright lights in there.
I think we went from 30 pinball machines to where they were in the back of the first room to 65 overnight. And it was like, because we had them all. We were just, they were in storage, and then we were setting that room up for probably about a month or two before we actually cut the wall open and then open it up. So, we partnered up with a buddy in J-Town, and we bought a place called Johnny V's, and we opened up a place called Max Dough House, and we owned that for a little while, and that was doing all right. But Corey and I sat back and we were like, RecBar J-Town is doing really well. Why are we messing with this one-off? So we decided, we got with our partner over there, and we sold that place, and then decided to open 812.
Like, let's replicate what's successful right now.
So we opened 812, and you're talking 10,000 square feet in J-Town, 26,000 square feet in New Albany.
We got to make it a point to go over there.
It's a monster. It just has a total different feel. It's fun. So we actually, and I'm a humble dude, we tried to do something in Lexington not too long ago, and it struck out. And we went with a different name change because we thought, it was going to be an older clientele, and we kind of couldn't really do the kids there because the setup of the venue was real weird. So we didn't want to name it RecBar because people would think it's, same concept and same, and it didn't work. And we're getting out of that. And if we open up any other venues, which we will, it will only be RecBars.
Yeah,
and
that's fantastic.
It will only be RecBars, and that's why we decided. Now we're branding them as the area codes, and I think my buddy hit me up and said Ludacris's song. I think we only got like 15 more of those cities to put a area code in. We got them all. So, but no, we will, and that's why we continue to buy games, and now we have a district manager, and we'll go as far as our team will take us. I think right now it's about getting West Main Retro open and going.
I wanted to talk about that.
That's interesting.
And then after that, I think we'll sit down and start looking at some other cities that we've been scouting out for a while. We have people email us all the time. We just had an email from Owensboro. They want us to open, which not saying we there's right now no interest in that. The model now with having two, if we run the same, RecBar number 3, it's just going to be easier because we know
exactly
what we want to do. And now we're starting to, streamline like everything. We have an events coordinator, and she kills it. And, she runs all of our private events, at the places. And it will just get easier. Yeah, it might stretch us out a little, but we'll always keep it close enough where, you know, we're not completely stretched out. But then again, you know, and I say this, but I guess you say never, but like there's no plan at all to ever open another RecBar in Louisville because, you know, we're a destination bar. Like I don't you know, I want them to be far enough away where people have to travel and stuff. So, I mean, when we first opened, I think that's what we realized is some of our data collection, man. I mean, we were having people from 3 hours away. And then when we opened that pinball room at that time, as far as a bar and restaurant together where, you know, you can get food and booze, we were the third biggest pinball bar and restaurant in America. So
that's fucking awesome.
That was huge. And then
Tuck, we got to go see one of those pinball tournaments.
You want to tell us about West Main Retro and what? Obviously, it's not hard to understand, but I think there may be a few things that, you know, people don't know about. Where is that opening and when?
Yeah, so that started kind of because we needed warehouse space. We were leasing a warehouse over here in Bluegrass Industrial Parkway for an insane amount of money. I think it was like 6,000 square feet. And we wanted to buy something. So during COVID, we were lucky enough to buy a building. It's actually over on Main Street in Scribner in New Albany.
That's cool how you guys are kind of like going into New Albany with the RecBar and then another. That's cool, man.
And it was the old motorcycle repair shop called Finks. And it's literally, if you're from Louisville and you go to the boat, you have to turn right there. It's on that corner.
I know where it's at, yeah.
And it came up, and it's 12,000 total square feet. And, you know, we bought it, and now our mortgage is cheaper than our rent. So we were just stuffing it full of games in the backside, and the front side was a showroom, but it was not nice. There was, you know, we had to redo it all. So we said, all right, well, we got so many games, and, you know, when we start first buying games, we were buying, if we could find a pinball machine under $1,500, we bought it.
Yeah, you told me
If we could find an arcade machine under $500, we bought it. And when we first opened, we didn't have the best of games, but we had what we can afford. So then, you know, once we start buying better games or nicer games or games in, you know, original cabinets, we were just sending those games over there. And we weren't really selling much because, man, some of this stuff's 20, 30, 40 years old. Shit happens to it. I didn't want to sell it because someone comes and buys it, and then, you know, they drive it to their house. It's not working at their house, and they're automatically like,
you sold me this piece of shit.
Yeah. And so that's really why we haven't really sold a ton. But we actually decided, all right, the front half of that warehouse, I think it's about 4,000 square feet. We re-carpeted it. We did all drywall, spray foam, ceiling, painted it. It was ready to go. It looked good, and it was empty. And then we were prepping for Lexington, and we were like, all right, let's just keep buying and, you know, figuring out what's going to go to Lexington. And then next thing, like, what really crammed us up is Hat World went out of business. So I bought like all their roadshow display cases, and, you know, the display stuff were, you know, like retro stuff. And turn around and the whole damn building is completely packed, like where you can't walk in the front door. So we're in the process of emptying out now. That's why we brought quite a few games to sell, and hopefully the plan is late spring, early summer to do a huge parking lot party over there with, you know, food trucks and DJs and just do a release or opening, because, man, we got tons of, you know, old retro toys and then new retro toys and then pinball machines and arcade machines, and, you know, basically if we replace it off the floor at one of our venues, it's over there and probably ready to sell. You know, some of the stuff that is nicer that we're going to keep, that will go to the third venue or fourth venue. But I guess the good thing is now is if we needed to open a venue next weekend, we wouldn't have to look for games. We'd just
awesome.
open. And
that's a good feeling, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So most everything in West Retro is for sale.
Yep.
That's awesome.
About. And that, you know, there'll be, dude, all kinds of old school bar decor and like shit. I bought this bar.
This bar's for
and
sale.
These bar stools to sell there, and then it went to my house, and my wife was like, "No, take that out. It's ugly." But so we like old school, the old couches they used to have, back in the day. That you'd sit on and play Nintendo for 10 hours on the big box TV. So all that, anything that we think is cool and retro,
we're selling it.
Yeah, we're selling it, and we buy stuff too. We haven't really opened that up quite yet because there's not a lot of room, but it'll have, if you want to pimp your basement out, and not spend. And I'm not knocking them, but you go to Stapleton or Watson's and you're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get a couple games and some other cool decor, it will be there, and it'll be a lot cheaper. And then we're gonna get into we'll submit certificates to be distributors for sports cards, Pokemon cards. I mean, we'll sell comics and all. We're not trying to, we're not ever going to be like the coolest comic store, we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to have a little bit of everything.
Dabble a little bit in all of it.
And where we're at over there, we can actually get a beer and liquor license. So, you can come in and buy a beer and test some games out for an hour. So we'll have a license.
We can go get a little buzz and think about buying an arcade game, Tuck.
Sell you.
And to me, that's a great formula.
Yeah.
And honestly, the reason the toys came around, to be honest, is, if we do have, mom and dads coming in and spending
that's
solid
where it's at
money,
right there, man.
Like I'm not trying to make great money on these toys. Like, I don't have time to look them up and see if they're worth something. I know what I paid for them, and if I got that back out of them, and a dad bought a arcade game and a son got a $5 Pokemon toy or something, then I'm cool, and it would help us, like I said, you go back to taking your kids somewhere, and the kids want to go there, and they're not happy.
Got a nice selection of toys, man.
It's random.
Yeah, I like it though.
I buy random stuff.
It's all retro.
Yep.
Or new retro, like you said.
One thing I do want to say is thank you. You tried to downplay it when you gave it to us. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle NES game with the designer signing. You're like, it's not.
The creator.
Dude, that was amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's one of the top, on the top shelf of the NES collection. I don't care if I have stuff that's worth more than it or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's what it is. It's the guy that, one of the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I know you said he signs everything. I still don't give a shit. It's just a cool piece.
That's a good piece, man.
That's really cool. Anyone that talks this business, man, I need them to do well. I want them to do well because, it's baffling to me when, a restaurant opens in your area. Like, if a restaurant opens in J-Town, people will be like, "Oh man, what do you think about that?" I love it.
Yeah, I want them to do good.
That's not my competition. I mean, if anything, my competition might be St. Matthews or the Highlands or something, because I want as many restaurants and many, retro podcast people like for you to shit on someone regardless, like, that's not me. And you guys, like, you talk about what I like, and you talk about shit I don't have time to look up and stuff. And the couple podcasts you have alone that I've watched, it's like, oh shit, I didn't know Chuck had chicken pox. That's cool. That's random. It's like, so it's cool to see someone that's into it, and that the more that y'all talk about it, the better we do in general too.
Right.
So we're all about it. That's why it's like y'all come over to the house, talk some shit, and then
that was fun.
Here, dude, like we love this place, man, and we'll do whatever we can to keep this show going.
Oh yeah, man, we're in.
People always, oh man, your show. This is not our show. This RecBar has, nothing to do here other than
be a part
trying to support as much as we can. We'll do whatever we can to keep this show going because it's one of my favorite weekends of the year.
I'm already looking forward to next year, bro.
Me too.
And me and Tuck already talked about we're getting a booth next year.
Yep. Yeah. I'll tell them put you right next to us, man. We'll
heck yeah.
We'll hang out all weekend, and it's, dude, like I said, y'all are sitting here watching this, and
It's,
awesome.
it's the best
listening to
people
this.
watching ever.
It is,
Like,
man.
dude, if you like games at all, you gotta check it out at least one day.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that you have not seen in forever. You know, if you're 30 and 40 years old, like it's what you grew up on. And
Yeah,
it's,
this
and
is
it's
it,
what
man.
it's what we probably sowed 20 years ago that we wish we
Yes,
wouldn't
bro.
have. And
That's what me and Tuck's been collecting
We've
this
been
whole weekend is shit we had already.
Yeah.
And now we're rebuying it
could you imagine
as adults.
Could you imagine if someone told us back in the day, hey man, why don't you leave all those He-Man and Power Rangers and G.I. Joes in packages and sell them in 30 years? We'd all be millionaires.
I destroyed every
Yeah.
package
Yep.
immediately, but
Like
happen.
there's a booth over here. A guy has a Metroid, a NES Metroid. He's got the box only. It's just the box, and it's in perfect condition.
$300.
$300 for just the box.
A box.
And I want to buy it.
yeah.
So that tells you it's just the game's not there, the manual's not there. It's just the box. So
Yep.
that's where we're at.
It's like that. You see something and I buy the dumbest shit. My basement wall. My
It's
wife,
awesome though, man.
My wife's like, really? You
Yeah.
need a Pee Wee Herman doll?
Yes,
And
I
I'm like,
need it.
Hell
Yes.
yeah! It's gonna go right next to my Rourke doll out there. You know, like weird shit. That's what's cool. So
Yeah, man. Well, dude, we appreciate the hospitality.
Yeah,
Letting
yeah,
us
man,
post
for
up.
sure.
Man, yeah, dude, your energy, you're putting off some dope energy. You know what I'm saying? You want people to win, just like with the restaurants you were saying. You want to support people that are doing the same type of stuff, man. That's really dope because that's exactly how we feel.
yep.
And anybody anywhere near Louisville or New Albany, go see RecBar. It's
RecBar.
amazing.
Yeah,
You didn't
New
give us-
Albany, man. It's everyone's like, oh, the bridge toes and blah blah blah. It's 64 bridge. It is
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
and it's literally the first exit.
Yeah,
right
me and
there,
Tuck are gonna
man.
make sure we go next week.
You know, and I'll meet y'all over there. I might go to a toy show in Ohio, but which is like dope as hell. But if I don't, I'll meet y'all over because it's you know, and then. Once we open West Main Retro, it's the same exit. It's right there, you know, and you know, go over and you know
I
check out
definitely wanna
West
check that
Main,
place
and
out.
you know, and you guys need to come over there, you know, before we clean it out because you'll be baffled of just the
I'd
amount
love
of
to, man.
shit
Yeah.
we have. It's
I'd love
That's
to.
exciting.
yeah, my wife. I've been going over there trying to organize stuff, and I think finally, like 2 weeks ago, she went over there with me, and she hasn't been over there in like 2 years. And she goes, holy shit.
Yeah, this is a
I
lot.
see why you've kind of been stressed out. And I said, yeah, just like
It's a lot.
we're not open because we literally can't. I can't move.
You can't put the stuff outside on the curb.
Yeah.
I got so much shit.
Yeah, and I guess it's a good hoarding
good problem, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff, man. They're not making this shit anymore. Yeah, they're making new, you know, pinball machines and
I
every
see
once in a
that.
while arcade games. But you know, all these parts and stuff on this, they're not making it. So I saved the most random shit because someone might need it one day.
Yeah,
and
man.
Look, I got it. Here it is. And
Yeah.
and this community, you know, you said you bought a game, dude. Once you get into the gaming, like the arcade and pinball community, it's insane. Like people will send you shit for free that you can't even find just
Yeah,
because.
like a priceless item. Here you go, man. You need
know,
this.
Like some of these games that have the most like obscure like joysticks and shit, you can't get those.
Yeah.
People try to 3D print them, but it does not work,
No.
man. And people hit you up and say, oh, I got that. Let me send it to you. And it's like, oh, okay.
We've
cool.
already noticed that with our podcast. I mean, Grant, you gave us a game just because we were doing it and you had it and you're like, I want them to have it. It's happened so many times.
Yeah,
we've had so
we've
many
had
people
we
give
don't
us
even
stuff.
know.
And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We just love being part of that community.
When y'all start, you know, because how y'all two are, how the amount of people you know and the people you know,
Yeah.
like, dude, that's all it is in life and in general anymore is
Who you know.
how you treat someone and who you know, like,
Sure.
you know, like, and it's just gonna spread and spread, and I promise you'll get like 2 years down the road, you'll get like the most random shit sent to you, like
Yeah.
holy shit,
Yep.
Yeah.
like this dude, you know, like,
Yeah.
and someone knows someone, you know, so like, you know, you guys talking to the voice of the NBA Jam.
Yeah, I love that guy.
I didn't know he did voices for everything.
Blitz, everything.
He did
Yeah.
a bunch of,
Like, he did voices for 9 pinball machines and 8 of them we have. I didn't know
Oh,
it
that's
was him.
crazy. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So, you know. And
yeah, shout out to the NBA Jam guy. He was great with my kids too. My kids fucking love that guy.
And
Chuck was like, "Does this dude do birthday parties?"
Yeah.
Well, and he told me, and I mean, I don't know him, so I don't think this is, you know, confidential, but Converse released these NBA Jam Chuck Taylors I have, and he reached out to them and he was like, "Hey, you want me to do like, you know, starting lineup, you know, Converse Chuck Taylor NBA Jams?" And they're like, "No, we just want your permission. Here's $1,500." And I was like, "It's kind of shitty. I mean, $1,500, whatever. It's, you know, take it or you don't take it, you know, because if they did it, he probably, you know, he probably couldn't sue them, or it's not going to take too long and stuff." But, you know, that would have been cool if they made some commercials and did some releases with him, because, dude, he's fun. He literally is walking around the show like
with a microphone,
and give shout outs to your buddies and shit, and it's cool, man. And like I said, check his place out next year. And there's local shows too that are cool and all. But the Louisville Arcade Show, man, of course, being in Louisville, this is where it's at.
The people here are awesome. Like literally every single person here is having a great time. No one's arguing. There's no bad.
No one's
this
here.
Is amazing.
No one's here trying to be Tommy tough shit. I made a joke the first year we came. My second fight ever, I fought here in the Ramada Plaza, and my third and fourth and fifth fight was here. And I was just joking to my business partner. I said, "I'm probably the only nerd here that's ever been in a fight here."
Yeah, in here. I fought here.
Yeah. So, and it's cool because, you know, we refer to, you know, people as nerds. I'm a nerd, dude.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can tell you random shit about pinball and video games, and try to fix as many as I can. And you guys, most obscure, you know, knowledge that you're looking up now, and it's awesome. So
we're hardcore deep nerds.
I was just in Jimmy John's a few hours ago before I came here to getting a sandwich real quick, and I had the lanyard on the pass, and they go, "Oh, he's part of the thing over there." "What is that?" I go, "It's just a bunch of nerds playing video games."
Yep.
Like, here we are.
Yeah, she was like, "Ha, that sounds
proud
awesome."
of it now, man.
And people, you know, that term, you know,
it's cool
back
now.
in the day, you pick on someone, "Hey, nerd," go, you know. But now a nerd and a geek, you know, especially a geek to me sounds like that dude's smart.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Probably got some money now too. So
exactly,
you know, for the young people that are out there listening, man, nerd and geeks
wasn't cool when we were kids.
Yeah, it's cool now.
Yeah, all the cool kids in school now work for the nerds.
And the geeks.
Yep, for sure. So.
But
all right, man.
Thank you so much for
you
this,
guys,
dude.
man.
Yeah, you
can
can
appreciate
we'll hang out all weekend.
Yeah, dude, we'll be here all weekend. So yeah, check out the podcast, guys, on YouTube. We're really just getting that rolling. Super Retro. You can find us on Instagram, Super Retro. You can find us on your YouTubes, all your social media sites, even the TikToks,
even podcast places.
Yeah, and all your we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on all of that good shit. Once again, Tony, thank you, man. We really appreciate it. You giving us this much time at this event. So now let's go, Will.
Let's go spend some money.
Let's go spend some money. Let's
play
go
some games.
Let's go play some games. Let's go try to find someone else to talk to.
I got to see if my high score's still up there over there on Kung Fu.
Demolish that kid.
Yeah, right.
All right, man. Peace.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
man.
Thanks.